All right, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you go ahead and get a sheet of graph paper handy, and we are going to do a full review of the types of graphing we've been working on in our Integrated 1 class. I've got mine here. I'm ready to go. I've got a straight edge. You need yours too. We're going to review graphing with a table, graphing with x and y intercepts, and graphing using rise over run. We'll finish off with a quick graph of just a linear equation where it equals a constant, y equals 4 or x equals 2. But all of that's going to be reviewed here. So here we go. First section is graphing with a table. All right, so first one we're going to do is 5x minus 2y equals 4. Again, you're not just watching this video, you're actually taking notes as we're doing it, working the questions as I'm doing it with you. All right, in order to make a table for this first one, we need to solve for y. We need to get y by itself, and then we can make our table. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract over 5x. Subtract over 5x. Okay, that gives you negative 2y equals negative 5x plus 4. Then you'll divide every part by negative 2. All right, so if you divide every part by negative 2, you end up with y equals positive 5 over 2x. And then minus 2. And that's ready to go to graph with a table. So in our table, we are going to use the numbers negative 2, 0, and 2. And the reason for that is because of the denominator being 2, things will cross cancel. So you're going to plug in your negative 2. You're going to have 5 over 2 times negative 2 over 1, then subtract 2. Just putting that in for x. Your 2's will cross cancel out. That becomes a 1. And you'll have negative 5 minus 2, which is negative 7. Now you should know here that the 0 is going to be negative 2 because it is the y-intercept. But again, we could just plug in 0. 5 over 2 times 0. And then we are going to subtract 2. I was going to write 0 over 1 there, which is not necessary, but you can if you'd like to make it a fraction. 5 over 2 times 0 is 0. And 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Last one you need to plug in is the 2. So you're going to do 5 over 2 times 2 over 1 minus 2. 2's are going to cancel out. And we've got 5 minus 2. That answer is 3. And you can see where that table is going in a consistent pattern. Negative 7, negative 2, 3, increasing by 5 there as you go. All right, so grab your straight edge, and we're going to go ahead now and make a 4-quadrant graph. Let's put it over here a little bit to the side because I want to do the others on this same grid. So, give you a second to go ahead and do that. Remember, for me, all I ask is that you label the last term on the x-axis and the last term on the y. So I'm going to go out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, x-axis, up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, y-axis. Okay, so we're labeled, and now we just need to plot our dots. Negative 2 is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 0 is negative 2, and 2 is 3. Go ahead and connect your dots with a nice straight line. And because we're going to do a couple on each grid that we're going to make here, I want you to go ahead and label that was 5x minus 2y equals 4. Now, if as you're watching this, you're struggling to keep up, just go ahead and hit pause. Go ahead and finish off your graph. You can make comparisons to your work with mine, and we can hopefully catch up together once you push play again. All right, so question number 2, I'm going to do it here in this space because I want to use this graph again. It's going to be one that's in point-slope form. So y equals negative 3 times x plus 1 minus 2. All right, so we're going to go ahead and create a table out of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the information from point-slope form to create my table. So I know my point here comes from this, negative 1, comma, negative 2, opposite of the number inside the parentheses, comma, negative 2. So that's what I'm going to put in the middle of my table. Negative 1 is negative 2. Again, that point that comes from it. And now my common difference, or slope here, is negative 3. So now to get 0 going down here, I just add on negative 3. This number is negative 5. Again, using the slope, adding negative 3. Going back, I'll add on positive 3. So negative 2 then is, if I put the common difference going this way, adding on 3, I'll get positive 1. And again, if I look at that by adding 3 each time, negative 3 each time, I'll get those numbers. Now you can also, if you'd like, rather than doing what I did with, using the point and the slope, you could instead actually plug in negative 2. I'm going to do it mentally here with you. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1 times 3. That's 3. 3 minus 2 is positive 1. And again, you could do that with each of your points if you'd like. Okay, now we can go ahead and plot those dots. That negative 2 is positive 1. That negative 1 is negative 2. And that 0 is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right down there. Connect with a nice straight line. You've got your second one graphed. Again, let's label it. We're doing multiples on the same graph. So y equals negative 3 times x plus 1 minus 2. All right, third and final question that we will graph, and I am going to do that down here, and then I'll come back up and graph. Question number 3 is, how do I graph 6x plus 3y equals 9? Well, again, if you're going to graph this using a table, you're going to want to solve for y, just like we did in the first example. So now what we're going to do is subtract 6x to the other side. Go ahead and do that. You'll have 3y equals negative 6x plus 9. And then you'll go ahead and divide each part by 3. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. If you've done that, you'll have y equals, this is going to be negative 2x plus 3. Okay, set up, ready to go for making a table. All right, so our standard table that we use, especially when we don't have the fractions, negative 1, 0, and 1. Plug them in one at a time. I'm just going to go ahead and do this mentally. I'll put in negative 1 here. Negative 2 times negative 1 is 2. 2 plus 3 is going to be 5. If you need to write it down, that's fine. It was negative 2 times negative 1 plus 3 that we just did there. Again, positive 2 plus 3 is 5. I already know the 0 is going to be 3. That's the y-intercept. And then plug in 1. That'll be negative 2 times 1 plus 3. Negative 2 plus 3, or sorry, negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus 3 is 1. And now we're ready to go ahead and graph. So I'm going to keep that table, here it is, and we'll go ahead and plot our points up here in the top of our graph. So negative 1 is positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 is 3 over 0 up to 1, 2, 3. And then 1 is 1 over to 1 up to 1. Go ahead and connect those dots with a nice straight line, and you're going to have it. Let's again label that. That was y equals negative 2x plus 3. Got it. All right? So that is graphing with a table. Now let's keep going. I'm going to get a new clean side of the graph paper going. And we'll go ahead now and work on x and y intercepts, using the x and y intercepts to graph. So use x and y intercepts. Okay, to graph. All right, now I'm going to just do one on the graph, but I'll do a couple of questions where you have to find the x and y intercepts. So let's say, for example, that you have 3x minus 6y equals 12, and I ask you to graph using the x and y intercepts. Again, what we've been saying in class is you want to write down x int, y int. The x-intercept is where y equals 0. And then you'll just plug in 0 for y. So that gives you 3x equals 12. Divide each side by 3. Divide by 3, and x is going to be 4. So the x-intercept then is 4, 0. Now your y-intercept comes from when x is 0. So you're going to take 0, put it in as x. 3 times 0 is 0. So you'll have negative 6y equals 12 then, if this part is 0. Divide each side by -6, and you'll have it y equals -2. So that means that your y-intercept will be 0, -2. All right, so we have our x and y-intercept. Now we can go ahead and graph. Now again, I'm not going to graph that one. I'm going to show you on the next one. We'll just do one of them. All right, so the next question I want to do is one that's in point-slope form. So y equals -2 times x minus 3 plus 1. So new question, still going to do it with x and y-intercepts. So again, I want to find, again, the x-intercept, write that, and y-intercept. And the work is now the same. X-intercept is where y equals 0. So you're going to put 0 in for y, and that gives me 0 equals -2 times x minus 3 plus 1. A little bit of work here to getting that. I need to distribute. So I have 0 equals -2x plus 6 plus 1. Combine my terms there, so 0 equals -2x plus 7. Subtract over the 7, so -7 equals -2x. Divide each side by -2, and you're going to have x equals 7 over 2, or 3.5. I would probably say 3.5 on that because that's going to be a little bit easier to graph. 3.5, 0. Now for your y-intercept, that's where x equals 0. So we're going to go ahead and put 0 in for x. If I do that, I will have y equals -2 times 0 minus 3. That's -3 plus 1. So -2 times -3 is positive 6. So y equals 6 plus 1, y equals 7. So we've got 0, 7 as our y-intercept. Remember, if this is going quick for you, you can pause, you can finish off your problem, then come back and check your work, see if you've got it right. Okay, so I'm ready to graph. I'm going to go ahead and make a 4-quadrant graph here now on my graph paper. I didn't make it too big. Maybe I should have made it a little bigger. Let's see. But the point of doing it on graph paper is that if it goes off a little bit, you're fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, I know I've got to go up to 7. Well, that's okay. On the y-axis, I'll just go 6, 7 would be right there. Plot that dot. And then your x-intercept, 3.5, 0. That's in between 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. 0.5 is here. Go ahead and connect those dots with a nice straight line. And you will have it. You've graphed it. Now, if that's bothering you that the y-axis isn't all the way up, go ahead and just extend it. And you can see there where it crosses the y-axis. All right, final way that you were going to work on graphing, as far as technique goes, is graphing using rise over run, slope and y-intercept. So using the slope and y-intercept. And again, this is the most efficient, probably the best way to graph, and we probably will graph this way most of the time when we're doing them in class. All right, so first one we'll do is y equals -2/3 x plus 1. We just identify slope and y-intercept. Your slope here is -2/3, and your y-intercept is 0, 1. As we've been working on this in class and you've been reviewing on your own, you know that this goes pretty quick once you have that information. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my 4-quadrant graph. Okay, I've done that. Go ahead and label your x and y axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for me. X-axis, y-axis, completely labeled. Looking good. Now we can go ahead and start by plotting our y-intercept, 0, 1 there. And then we'll go, because of it being negative for the slope, we'll go down 2, over the right 1, 2, 3. I like to see you do that twice, down 2, over the right 3. Now you can go up and back. We haven't really talked about that much as a class. We will eventually, but right now we're just going positive up, negative down, and then always going to the right. It's go ahead and label that next to it, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 1. Okay, that one is taken care of. All right, second question. We've got 4x minus 5y equals 20. Now, you can't graph with slope and y-intercept unless it's in slope-intercept form. So, convert it to slope-intercept form. So, we're going to go ahead and subtract 4x to do that. We need y by itself. So, we have negative 5y equals negative 4x plus 20. We're going to go ahead then and divide everything by negative 5. Divide by negative 5, every part. And with y equals, this is going to be positive 4/5 x minus 4. We're ready to go. We just need to write down what our slope is. Slope here is 4/5. Y-intercept is 0, negative 4. All right, so now go ahead and plot your y-intercept, which is 0, negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll go up 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I didn't count that right. Let me count again. Up 1, 2, 3, 4. Over the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can do it again if you'd like. Go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Over to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you've done things right, everything will line up in a nice straight line. You can see mine is definitely doing that. And go ahead and connect those dots with a nice straight line. Label the equation. That was y equals 4/5 x minus 4. Okay, final equation I'll do from slope and y-intercept. Number 3 is we've got y equals 2 times x plus 1 minus 4. Now, I'm not actually going to graph with slope and y-intercept here. I will use the slope, but I'm not going to use the y-intercept. Because it's in point-slope form, I know there's a point, negative 1, negative 4. And I know my slope is 2. So what I'm going to do is just start at my point, come back up to my graph. Negative 1 is negative 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'll use my slope, which is rise over run, 2 over 1. So I'll just go from that point up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Connect with a nice straight line, and you will have it. Go ahead and label. That was y equals 2 times x plus 1 minus 4. All right, final graphing that we're going to do in this segment, and then you'll have some time to work on your assignment, is how do I graph if it is y equals or x equals a constant? I'll just do that down here. So graphing just y equals or x equals, this is a little bit of extra here now. So these are ones that have what are called zero slope or undefined slope. We haven't talked much about that yet in class, but that's what we're talking about here. So let's say that I want you to graph, number 1, f of x equals 3. So we know from class that this means y equals 3. I'll even write that, y equals 3. And then I need to have memorized. Have you memorized yet that if it's y equals a constant number, that the graph will go side to side through that number? And then if it's x equals a constant number, it'll go up and down through that number. That's what we're going to do. All right, so let's go ahead and set up a 4-quadrant graph because there really isn't much work to these, hardly at all. So make our 4-quadrant graph. One, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me. 1, 2, 3, 4 going up on the y-axis for me. And now again, all you're going to do is side to side through 3. So up here at 3, side to side line. Boom, got it. That's simple because y equals a constant, goes straight side to side through that number. One last question on this, and this will wrap up this video. X equals maybe negative 4. So we know from the instruction here that if x equals a constant number, it'll go straight up and down through that number. So straight up and down through -4, -1, 2, 3, 4 there. Go ahead and go straight up and down through that -4. And you got it. X equals -4. All right, so that's it on the graphing review. Go ahead and get started on your assignment now. Hopefully you're having a great day. We'll see you guys the next time I'm here. Bye for now.